Welcome to the KINETIQ Life Podcast, brought to you by KINETIQ Renew.
This podcast is dedicated to helping you find your way to your dreams, your goals, and your success. We'll be fueling that with key information on topics like health, science, tech, and lifestyle, coated with a few laughs along the way. In this episode, Fecal Transplants. It's exactly what you think it means. Global sperm counts dropping. This is impotent news. Coming to a theater near you. Fortified Super Popcorn. Plus a few helpful tips and tricks to help you on your journey. And now we begin. Here's Michael Chalavutis and Dr. Mark Hertzberg.
Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of the KINETIQ Life Podcast. I am your host, Mike Chalavutis, and I'm here with my good friend and compatriot, Dr. Mark Hertzberg.
That would be me.
That would be you.
And I'm here too, and the reason I'm here is I feel it's about time that we have something interesting to talk about again.
To be honest, people, the only reason he's here is he found his way back in. We keep changing the locks. We're not really sure, but he just lingers in.
As long as you keep that basket of candy bars up front like it's Halloween the whole year, I will find my way back.
At least now I know how. You know what? I'm going to move the basket of candy down the street. Maybe you'll linger around there.
What's wrong with that? As long as the candy's there, nothing else matters.
The KINETIQ Life Podcast is sponsored by KINETIQ Renew. KINETIQ Renew is a 4-ounce shot of all natural ingredients that deliver some amazing benefits, like improved mental clarity, long and short-term focus, and improved memory and cognition. Plus, KINETIQ Renew improves mood with the added benefits of anti-stress and anti-anxiety. Here's what people are saying.
I drink a bottle of KINETIQ Renew, and I'm in a better mood. It's like waking up on the right side of the bed. It's great.
My mental focus is clearly better.
I do notice that I have better clarity. Definitely improves my mood for sure. It reduces my stress.
Visit KINETIQLife.com today. Log on now and use promo code POD1 for 30% off. That's 30% off your order when you use promo code POD1. KINETIQLife.com. KINETIQ Life.com. Do it now. You're going to love KINETIQ Renew.
So last week we spoke about the city of the future with street lamps and how they were the backbone.
Whoa, hold on. Before we go on with the show Mike prepared for, the next segment was planned on a need-to-know basis above Mike's security clearance. But good news, Mike! You can hear all about it now. In fact, you're the first contestant.
Oh, fantastic.
Answer as quickly as you can. Time counts.
Okay.
What is enforcement discretion?
Enforcement discretion?
Wrong! It's when the FDA hasn't approved a substance, but if the patient can supply the right stuff, a doctor can oversee the application, and the FDA will look the other way. Next question. What's the deal with fecal transplants? Please shed some light on the subject. You have 10 seconds.
They're good for you. You stick someone else's healthier poop into your colon, could help make you smarter.
That sounds like
healthier.
a bunch of bull, so it's actually close. Unfortunately, the judges were looking for a fecal transplant is exactly what you'd expect it to be, delivered in capsules or enemas. Sorry, Mike, you're 0 for 2. But you can make a big comeback with your final question with triple points value. What country has just become the first to actually give official approval to a form of fecal transplant therapy?
Show me Norway.
The correct and utterly obvious answer is, drum roll, a land down under. Yes.
Australia?
A hand down under in the land down under. No one will ever listen to these lyrics the same way again. I said to the man, are you trying to tempt me? Because I come from the land of plenty. Ooh, do you come from a land down under? Where women glow and men plunder. Can't you hear the thunder? You better run. You better take cover. Now you'll know. If I can be serious for a moment. Australia's TGA, Therapeutic Goods Administration, I guess that's their version of the FDA, has granted approval to a fecal transplant therapy, Biobanks Biomictra, to treat infections from an unpronounceable bacteria, but it's commonly referred to as C. diff, which leads to severe diarrhea that can get so severe it can occasionally kill you.
Yeah, it's a problem in hospitals. So just for that situation that they've approved that.
Yes, so basically when you have to choose between dying from what's shooting out of yours or having someone shove some more up, Biobank cultivated what they call super donors, young and healthy people who regularly attend the company's facility to deliver fecal samples in custom-designed toilets.
Wait, so
now, we've been searching to find what these custom-designed toilets are. The best we can tell is they're kind of the reverse of pay toilets.
So is this like a sperm bank where they take all your criteria, but for poop? So they're paying someone for their poop.
Yep. And it also puts a new meaning into the old saying that you want to take a fill in the blank. The
What's the pay rate? Is there different grades of good poop?
That could be a question.
Could I make a living going down there once a day and using the restroom to do a number 2?
You know, I think that we're going to have like career day in school. You can make money.
Did you put that on your resume? What have you been doing for the last 5 years?
Now, the way they describe it, the outcome winds up in syringes, frozen, and sent to clinics to be delivered by colonoscopy or enema. And then the next day you answer, how was your delivery questionnaire? If you took it as a pill or a capsule, it would have to pass through your upper gastrointestinal tract to get where it wants to live, and that would probably kill it.
No, this is a suppository. It's right. Going in the back door.
Yes, you know, and we definitely advise against taking it as a chewable gummy. Okay. Now, I believe we've already had an episode where we talked about the problem with probiotics is a good live culture does get digested. So that's why, you know, prebiotics to help what's in there is better because that gets through. Now, Biobank is actually looking beyond having human donors supplying poo samples, and they're building a collection of bacterial strains in the hope of creating cultured and standardized
their own super poop
microbiome transplants. So basically, let's build it. I think there's a recent study from a team at Stanford University. They demonstrated the first successful fecal transplant in mice. Mice always get stuff first. They're like first adopters. And but they used a microbiome built from 104 different bacterial species chosen to resemble an optimal healthy gut bacteria population.
How do you determine what's the best poop? I guess if you determine that, you could replicate it.
And that could be a whole discussion in itself because, you know, sometimes when you add bacteria, it's kind of like when you build a neighborhood. You can't just put all the types of people and things in service that'll be there. You have to go in a certain order. Otherwise, it won't work. So
that's the right ratio.
Yeah, and, you know, it could be at the beginning while it's building, you need more of one thing, but later on, you need more of another, and that the ideal ratios are subject to change.
I mean, let's just take a step back. So you're telling me in Australia there's currently professional poopers?
Yes.
Interesting.
Hey, don't poo-poo it. It's a real thing.
World's going in a weird direction.
Fecal transplants have been shown, let's say, that you take the biome from an old mouse and put it in a young mouse, and the young mouse has memory problems, but they're also finding that if you take the biome from a young mouse and put it into an old mouse, it can improve mental and other abilities, including the retina, which really is part of the brain, so it should make sense. Certain age-related conditions that can even blind you can be helped by this. Or slowed down, at least.
So should we be donating our poop to our grandparents?
That's, I guess, why they say it's better to give than to receive. But the next time, you open the door and somebody left flaming poo on you, they were actually trying to help.
Sure. I mean, look, you could take that either way you want with the flaming poop. But the fact that, age-related cognitive decline can be diminished, reduced by using a fecal transplant from a younger mouse.
You're beginning to slow down right now. Do you think maybe we need a little enema?
No, I'm good. Yeah, and now that you mention that, I'm feeling pretty awake and focused.
I think just the threat of it would make me energetic and 40 years younger.
So Australia is the lead country in this, the beginning of, I guess, the poop revolution. Yeah,
and they're the first to approve, because you also got to remember, if it just the FDA can't approve randomly because everybody, a lot of poop is no good. And they haven't standardized this is good. I mean, sometimes you could get a transplant and it's a complete sham, or what we call shampoo.
So, I mean, I would imagine we'll let Australia get the kinks out before we bring such things over here. But we all heard about the importance of gut health, and there's plenty of products like kombucha and probiotics and prebiotics and now postbiotics. So, that might put a damage on that industry, because we're just going straight to the good stuff as, you send a fecal transplant and get everything you need.
Well, I guess it's a real poop show. And remember the old George Carlin bit? I'll use the word poop. He didn't. No, this is poop. I'm smoking my own poop. This is good poop, man. Okay, maybe have we taken our high-level intellectual podcast to a different level this time?
But Mark, it's science.
And I think this is a good example that science can be interesting and fun and could be third-grade humor. Just because it's smart doesn't mean it's sophisticated. By the way, if there's really good poop, will they be trading on the Chicago Exchange in poop futures?
I'm not sure how you trade a poop future. Professional poop league?
I bought 11 gallons of poop, and I'm waiting for it to go through the roof.
Success is no accident. Pele. Success is not final. Failure is not fatal. It is the courage to continue that counts. Winston Churchill. He who is not courageous enough to take risks will accomplish nothing in life. Muhammad Ali. Don't count the days, make the days count. Don't worry so much about how long you've been doing it. Make today count. Focus on what you can do right now. Author unknown. Don't wait for opportunity. Create it. George Bernard Shaw.
You know what else is dropping, Mark?
What?
Global sperm counts.
Is there a fecal transplant to cure that?
That's a great question. I think that involves another study, but we haven't gotten there yet. But according to a 2017 meta-study that was recently been updated, there's been a reported 50% decline in average male sperm count since 1970s, and it's been dropping every year. Is the future of the human race at risk?
Well, by the way, did they ever check if this 1970s, which was very big for shagging, maybe that the sperm count had hit a high then and it's just normalizing? Do we know?
Oh, we don't know. I think in the 70s there was probably lots of weed going on too. Ooh. That lowest sperm count. So.
Uh-oh. So maybe worse than we think.
Very true.
So, what is causing this?
That's a great question. Now, to be honest, I don't think they're 100% sure. Based off the study, they've been noticing that there's a decrease in sperm count over the years. They believe it's a lot of environmental factors.
And we should tell people that it has lowered, but it is still substantially above the levels that would be an extinction level event for the human race. So it's not quite there yet, but if the trend continues, this could be troubling.
Yeah, and they mentioned conflicting studies. Some people are thinking that it hasn't actually dropped as much. But I do know lack of exercise, poor diet, overconsumption of fast food, environmental exposure, pollution. These are all factors that lead to a reduced sperm count. And actually, it's a crazy way to say, but the obesity epidemic would go hand in hand. The more visceral fat on you leads to higher estrogen levels and also leads to a decrease in sperm count.
But you also, now, using a mechanism and taking it up to a different scale, a lot of times when you're using a medicine to aid something that's not working well, and it doesn't cure, it just makes you more and more dependent on that medicine. Now, that happens to the individual. Could it be that people who, at a certain low enough sperm count, you can't reproduce, which means if it's genetic, not that, again, if you were exposed to radiation and that lowered your sperm count, that's a whole different thing. But let's say it was just genetic, where someone had a very low sperm count. If it gets below a certain point, they don't reproduce, or they reproduce. People like that reproduce way less, and it's a trait that will naturally evolve out. But if you use medical technology to help people, infertility clinics, then maybe you're also increasing the spread of the genes that are not
to low
raised,
sperm counts,
so that you become the more dependent you get on
defying
artificial
evolution.
ways as the entire human race, the more dependent you become on it.
So you're going against evolution is what you're saying.
Yeah, if you're fighting it, and that's fine right up until there is a civilization-challenging catastrophe such as a nuclear war or a meteor strike, and this goes with a lot of conditions where people become more and more medically dependent, and you're realizing just like a person gets dependent on too many medicines and too many things and without them can't exist, can you get an entire species to be too dependent?
That's a scary realization. Well, also,
this has gotten off the funny tone we usually like to keep.
Well, it's also possible that they didn't mention anything about the quality of sperm. So, what if you're going over the quality of a quantity, it's possible that, the reduction in sperm count has led to, super sperm. Maybe they're stronger, faster, better. They're going to find that egg better than any other sperm beforehand. And we already know that humans have that tendency to begin with, because if you go just by sperm count, God, where did I read this like 6 years ago? A really great human sperm count, if they were testing, let's say, a bull for like a farmer wants to buy a bull to breed with his stock. If a bull ever measured what a really good human measured, they'd shoot it. Interesting way of looking at it. So, look, like as we evolved to use less, we're getting rid of our wisdom teeth. Technically, we're evolving to not have them because.
And I don't know what I did with my tail.
The tail. What else? We have a couple different vestigial organs in us, so maybe it's not being a vestigial, but in the sense of lowering the amount. Why have the body put more effort to make more sperm if it's not necessary? If less could get the job done.
Okay, well, there's one thing. The flip side is some of the vestigial things you talked about, it's the opposite. If you don't use it, you lose it.
That's true.
Which, that's why for people who are in a daze and it becomes too difficult to keep thinking and using your poor overused brain so you stop using it, that's why we're sponsored by Renew, the drink you take so you can keep on keeping on with your brain. It should be your best friend.
Yeah, Mark is right. The brain and bones, especially as you get older, if you don't use them, you lose them. So you're telling me if I don't use my sperm, I lose my sperm?
Well, if you're going to start losing it, you should really keep track of where they go.
Great things never come from comfort zones. Author unknown. The real risk is doing nothing. Dennis Waitley. Success is walking from failure to failure. Winston Churchill. Action is the foundational key to success. Pablo Picasso. In the end, we only regret the chances we did not take. Lewis Carroll.
You know, Mark, when I go see those superhero movies, a big fan of the MCU, I also prefer Super Popcorn.
Is your Super Popcorn fortified?
Of course. It's also one giant kernel the size of a soccer ball. I'm just kidding.
But is Fortified Super Popcorn really a thing, or are you just pulling our leg?
No, it's a real thing.
It's a real thing.
And they call it super popcorn, but essentially it's fortified to be high in the amino acid lysine. But this lysine is one of, I believe, 8 essential amino acids that you need to take in your diet your body cannot produce on its own.
That's, and I believe that they started this, they were trying to, a lot of people around the world, corn is a very important nutrient, and they were fortifying corn to be eaten, which was non-poppable corn. And then they found, well, when they fortified it this way, it caused other problems, and they had to do this and this. And eventually they started fortifying kernels that could be popped, so that you had popcorn with nutritional value. If I remember correctly, they also said one of the things in it was tryptophan, which on the one hand is a usable nutrient. On the other hand, it's what's in turkey that makes people sleepy afterwards.
I believe it is tryptophan, but I don't believe tryptophan is an essential amino acid. I know lysine.
No, it's something, though.
Yeah.
It's in there for a reason. I don't know what it is. I just know that if they fall asleep at the movie, blame the popcorn now.
Yeah, so lysine, you're right, is important for a lot of different biological pathways, as well as enzyme development, and really important for connective tissue. So as you mentioned, this fortified popcorn kind of falls in line with golden rice. Golden rice is rice that's been modified to be fortified with vitamin A. And since its development, the amount of people, blindness throughout the world has diminished dramatically, because a lot of people in undeveloped countries that not being able to get vitamin A as a child has led to blindness.
Also, vitamin A is the fuel of night vision. Literally, it's the chemical used. And a lot of times if someone has a deficiency, they'll be night blind, where when the lights get dim enough and other people adapt, they are completely in the dark. So sometimes if you give, but the thing is, this isn't damage. It's simply out of gas. And someone could be night blind for years, and you get them a good dose of vitamin A, like liver, and suddenly you fuel the tank and they can see. The problem is, if somebody in the United States of America comes in night blind, There are people here who eat and eat and eat and don't get enough vitamin D or C or B, but vitamin A is in everything here. So you almost never find a vitamin A deficiency and that instant magic cure. But there are parts of the world where it's quite different.
Yeah, so this fortified, modified corn, I would say, as mentioned, falls in line with golden rice to be a potential, huge game changer when it comes to, lack of nutrition in developing world.
So you got to think that why did they bring up this article suddenly now, talk about popcorn, unless it was, I don't know, scientific clickbait?
Hey, nothing wrong with scientific clickbait.
Yeah.
And for all we know, I can't...
it's nice if you're saying your kids go to the movie and the popcorn they eat has some nutritional value, but I think the science article, could have started from the original corn, but popcorn made better title.
Oh, of course. And look, I can't say for sure, but I would imagine lysine, and a great essential amino acid, is also usable by your gut bacteria, and having a healthy gut biome leads to better brain health amongst many other things. So you don't have to get that fecal transplant, and maybe your sperm count isn't as low because you're a healthier individual.
Or maybe if you want to be a super donor to the fecal transplant bank, and the questionnaire you go, yes, I eat lots of fortified popcorn.
Fortified popcorn, yeah, the healthier lifestyle, boom, poop donor, sperm donor, you could make bank doing nothing. Go to one, drop the kids off at the pool, then you go down the street and do your thing, and you get 2 paychecks for the day.
Hey.
I don't know what the going rate is these days. Next time you're in Australia, you can find out. Let us know.
It's time we take a road trip to the land down under and find out what's going on.
Get some Vegemite and check out the poop clinic. Well, it seems that this podcast has gone to the pooper real quick. I want to thank everyone again for listening to this exciting episode of the KINETIQ Life podcast that has gone amazingly off the rails, but I would say in a fun way. Whether it was poop, sperm, or popcorn, or everything in between, we had fun. I hope you did too. Want to thank everyone for joining us today. As always, questions, comments, email us at podcast@kineticlife.com. Again, that's podcast@kinetic, KINETIQ life.com. I'm your host, Mike Shalavudis, and I have my compatriot, Dr. Mark Hertzberg. We're happy to have you today. Don't forget to like, follow, share, subscribe. Please write a review. That always helps us.
Positively write a good review. Remember to drink KINETIQ Renew for that
smooth focus. Until next time,
bye-bye.
Take care, everyone.
We're sponsored by KINETIQ Renew. KINETIQ Renew is the 4-round shot of all natural ingredients that deliver some amazing benefits, like improved mental clarity, long and short-term focus, and improved memory and cognition. Plus, KINETIQ Renew improves mood with the added benefits of anti-stress and anti-anxiety. KINETIQ Renew provides antioxidants and neuroprotection. And all this with no caffeine, no artificial flavors, sweeteners, or colors, and it's only 5 calories. KINETIQ Renew is what you drink to arrive focused and alert, and you won't get that caffeine or sugar crash. Visit kineticlife.com today. That's KINETIQ life.com and try it. Use promo code POD1 for a special 30% discount. That's POD and the number 1, POD1, for a limited time 30% discount. kineticlife.com. KINETIQ life.com. Do it now. Give it a try. You're going to love it. The 30% off is for a limited time, so log on now for the savings. Thank you for listening to the KINETIQ Life podcast. Catch a new show every other Thursday. You'll find us everywhere you can listen to a podcast. And remember, be safe, have fun, and go for your dreams. This podcast is for entertainment purposes only and should not be considered professional advice. All comments, jokes, views, and ideas expressed are those of the hosts or guests and do not represent any company or organizations with whom they may be affiliated. Always make sure to consult your own physician before starting any new diet, supplement, or exercise routine. Oh, and there's one more thing. If you're working on something that you really care about, you don't have to be pushed. The vision pulls you. Steve Jobs.